Okay, everyone, let me put you guys in a quick scenario. Let's say you're watching a movie or playing a video game, right? In this hypothetical movie or video game, the main character's father figure gets brutally murdered by another person. And so basically, the plot of the movie or video game is to get revenge for the death of the father figure. So, by doing so, the whole movie is dedicated to trying to find the person that killed the father figure and essentially get revenge. But by doing so, they have to kill a lot of people to get to that point. And after so many deaths of so many people that weren't even involved in the story, or even involved in the death of your father figure, once you get to that person, you just don't get revenge. You just say revenge is bad, and I have to break the cycle. So you just sit there in shock of wondering, then what was the point of all this? What was the point of me killing all these people right here on my way just to get to you, just for me at the very end to be like, nah, I'm better than you, I'm not gonna kill you, I'm just gonna be chill with you and be like, this is bad, guys, revenge is a bad thing. So did all those people just die for no reason, just because I wanted to get revenge, and suddenly I suddenly said, yeah, revenge is bad, guys? So what about them, bro? What did they do for them to warrant this? Some of them weren't even involved in this. And if you couldn't tell, what I'm mainly referring to from this whole analogy is The Last of Us 2 and why people have a problem with the game and the TV show itself. This one piece of media is the biggest example of why the revenge is bad trope just doesn't make sense, and why it sucks, because they always use it wrong or just don't know how to properly implement it into their stories. So it just comes off as self-righteous and very pointless sometimes. So basically, I just wanted to make this video to kind of go over why the trope just doesn't work and how you can actually make the trope make sense, or how it does so it doesn't feel as bad or sudden. Because every time I see it in other pieces of media, most of the time they just implement it wrong or just don't know how to do it. Also, I'm sorry, this video might come off more ranty than usual. I'm kind of new to this. This trope just has been bothering me so much, and I literally just want to get this off my chest. So if this video comes off a little negative, I'm actually kind of really sorry, but I promise it's not going to be all doom and gloom, so thank you. My first big problem with the trope is the fact that the MC will usually turn into a mass murderer just so they can get information or find out where the person that they want to get revenge on is located or hiding. So they just have to kill or torture or hurt so many people that weren't even involved in the event, or literally just doing their jobs that had no idea about what the MC is even doing. So it just makes the MC look like a crazy person that's just killing a bunch of people. And if they don't get revenge, all those deaths are in vain. They serve no purpose because they died for no reason. And that just feels so bad, because it feels like you're getting cucked, because you spent the whole movie trying to get to this point of revenge after killing all these people and trying to get the information you need. It's like watching John Wick, right? And in John Wick, after John has killed so many people just to get to the guy that killed his puppy, he says last minute, nah, I'm not gonna kill you. Like, no, John, you killed so many people to get here, and this guy is obviously a terrible human being that has no redemption. John, you go through with it. Why would you not do it? That just feels bad if that's how they wrote the movie. And I'm glad John Wick does not pull the revenge is bad trope. The second issue with the revenge is bad trope is the fact that they will always try to make it to a moral question of, am I a good person because I want to get revenge for the death of my father, or the fact that my puppy dog was killed in front of me, or they pissed on my mother's grave? And like, now the problem is this makes it really interesting, is like what adds depth into the trope. The issue is that they always implement it into the last 20 minutes of the movie or during the final battle, so it just comes off as very cliche and very forced. Like, yes, I've murdered 50 people here, but now I'm going to be asking myself the question, am I a good person because I did that? And like they killed 50 people to get here. Like 30 security guards that were just doing their jobs had no idea about the death or weren't even involved in it. So like, why now you're asking yourself, like, did their lives not matter? That just makes you come off as an asshole, because they just murdered 30 people that were just doing their jobs or weren't even involved. And now you're asking yourself, are you a good person because you killed those people, or you hurt a lot of people to get here? And then the villain has the audacity to pull the, if you kill me, you'll be just as bad as me. And I'm all like, at that point in the story, you just don't care. Because this is going to go into a third point, and I'm going to address this in my next point, is the fact that the way they always do this feels very forced. Like, no, I won't kill a puppy dog. I'm literally just doing this because you hurt me. Why would I do this? How does this make me as bad as you? My third big problem with the trope is the fact they will almost always try to make the villain extremely cartoonishly evil and make it very clear they are like the spawn of Satan themselves and literally irredeemable. And then they will usually have the audacity to pull the, if you kill me, you just be just as bad as me. And like, no. Like, I know our main character has probably murdered a bunch of people to get to this point in the story. But like, our main character has not been like, hasn't killing puppy dogs just for the sake of it, or just to get like for personal gain, or like taking over villages, or being racist, or stealing money. And like, that logic doesn't make sense, because let me bring up an actual example. In the Injustice universe and Injustice comics and video game, Superman kills Joker because Joker, hit him with hallucination gas, made him think he was fighting Doomsday, who was actually his own pregnant wife, and caused a nuke to go off, killing all of Metropolis and almost everyone he cared about and knows about. And let me tell you something. Do you think if that happened to you, do you think you should get revenge? You think that's a valid reason for getting revenge, right? Right? Yeah? Okay. And imagine someone, your best friend, coming up to your face and saying, bro, we can't kill him. He needs to go due process. And even though he nuked the whole city and made you kill your own wife. So like, bro, he deserves to go to jail in the justice system. Even though every time he goes to the justice system, he gets away with a slap on the wrist in jail and escapes. Like, bro, trust, man, the system's not broken. It's totally okay that this mass murderer can run around scot-free. Do you think that's okay? Do you think that's actually okay? And don't get me wrong, I'm not defending Injustice. But like, mainly Injustice is suffering from terrible writing. But this is the one situation of the one thing Superman does in the whole comic, in the whole origin comic, where he is justified for what he wants to do. And you want to know the funny part? In an alternate universe where the Joker actually gets killed and Batman doesn't tell him to his face, yo, so Joker, we can't kill people, bro. It's not okay, even though he murdered everyone you cared about. Superman doesn't become evil. When Batman doesn't do that bullshit and tell him with that, who doesn't become evil? And yes, I know it's probably because Batman is the one who kills the Joker. But like, that one difference is so monumental. And keep in mind, Batman or Superman are not as bad as the Joker at this point in the story, or for what they did. Superman is bad because everything that happens afterwards, because he spirals the hell out, mainly because of bad characterization and Wonder Woman egging him on and telling him to keep going. So yeah, I think that the revenge, like hitting me with the whole, if you kill him, you're just as bad as me trope, doesn't make sense. Because it never freaking works, because the things you do doesn't equal the crimes of the other person. So I know I've kind of been negative like majority of this video, but like, I'm just going to throw some points of how to fix these issues that I have with like the revenge is bad trope. My first solution to the trope is, one, have our main character use non-lethal weapons, or find a way to keep casualties to a minimum. Like the problem with The Last of Us 2 is the fact that Ellie has no non-lethal options. So you're always forced to kill people to get to your objective, to do your objective. And like, that just doesn't feel right, especially with the kind of story it wants to tell or message it wants to show. So it just feels, if you have non-lethal options, or the main character is trying very hard not to kill people, though killing people is fine, I guess, in the story. But as long as they're not going crazy at it, it's fine. That's perfectly a reasonable way to do it. Watch Dogs is like a good way to do it, where they don't actually have the main character kill anyone like in a cutscene, like confirmed. So it's perfectly reasonable if you're fine if not getting revenge, because it's not like confirmed that you're killing someone. My second solution for the revenge is bad trope is that if you're going to introduce a moral component into the story, introduce it really early into the story or into the revenge quest, just so it doesn't come out of like left field or learn the last 20 minutes, as it just feels really random, especially after the main character has took out so many people to get to this point in the story. So basically, like a good example of this would be like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, of where the reason why Roy getting revenge is not a good thing in the story is because Roy would have been consumed by his revenge and he wouldn't be the kind of person that will be able to lead the nation after everything has happened in the story. And it's a key component of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. About the whole thing about Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is that it's completely built on morality, human themes, and morality of what's right and wrong, and what makes a human. And its revenge is a key component of the story, and a main character in the show, literally Scar, is literally created because of revenge. And that's how you probably do it. You introduce the moral, and he's introduced very early into the story, and thus creates a moral component into the story early, so it feels organic, and it makes perfect reason why Roy is not allowed to get revenge, or is not told it's not a good thing. That is perfectly reasonable, and that's how you should handle it. Is where you need to introduce the moral component very, and I mean very early into the revenge quest or story. My third solution for the revenge is Bad Trope. Simply try to make your villain sympathetic and actually human, and don't have him commit literal war crimes or actually like crazy stuff. They also tried to do this in The Last of Us 2 by giving us about freaking Abby's perspective on the whole situation, and I think that kind of worked. Doesn't take away the fact that the quest kind of feels pointless, but whatever. And if you do decide to make your villain cartoonishly evil and literally irredeemable, please, and I mean please, don't hit him with the whole "if you kill me, you'll be just as bad as me" trope, because that trope never works in that context. And if you do, and if the villain hero does not want to go through with the revenge quest, have them give the villain a fate worse than death. Like Wally West dealing with inertia after he killed Bart Allen is a good example of why this trope works, and why I like the trope, and why whenever I see it everywhere else, it doesn't hit the same. Wally turns inertia into a literal statue and forces him to watch literally other statues of him and Bart's literally being heroes and being together, like being heroes, a statue of them, forced to do it and unable to do anything, breathe, or die. I'm perfectly fine if you do a fate worse than death, because inertia was irredeemable. He laughed about the death and everything, about Bart Allen's death. So like, it is perfectly reasonable. If you're gonna make an irredeemable villain, you need to make him, you have to not hit us with the whole "if you kill me, you're just as bad as me" trope, and instead try to do a fate worse than death situation. So they and for sympathetic villains, try to show us why we should be sympathetic to them early on in the story. But The Last of Us 2 also does this a bit too late into the story, halfway through, when we have already killed a lot of people at this point. So it just feels a little awkward that we just suddenly get to Abby's perspective. We need this perspective way earlier in the story. And yeah, that's basically all I have to say about the Revenge is Bad trope. I am sorry that this video came out more ranty than I wanted it to, or it sounds like. I am really sorry. And I want to thank you all for watching. If you made it this far, thank you so much. And I thank you for watching. I genuinely appreciate if you guys do watch. Thank you for everything, and have a good day. Thank you.